What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Palm City Chucks. We have college football for you in this episode. We are going to recap week 3 in college and then let you know our game or our week 4 picks for the top 25. We're going to talk about some of the top 25 teams that fell out, some of the new ones coming in. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with the recap of week 3. Let's start with Indiana State taking on 22 ranked Indiana. Oh, mama.
Yeah, there's
73 to nothing here. Yeah,
there's
different
not much
playing
to
fields
say.
for these two teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
not much to say.
Interstate battle, Indiana State,
Yeah,
Indiana. Indiana was always going to win this, but
right.
got to put them together sometimes, being two Indiana teams, but 7-3 nothing, the result we expected.
Yeah. At least they didn't have to travel too far. And moving on to a much more exciting matchup here, we had 12 seed Clemson taking on Georgia Tech, a game in which we had different here. And Georgia Tech took this one home, 24-21. Yeah, definitely a shocker, but at the same time, an ACC battle. And I've been saying, folks, Georgia Tech on the up and up. So rolled the dice here and it paid off for me.
Yeah, I think this really just comes down to I think both of us included, along with the rest of the media world, just really overrated Clemson. And I think that you jumped off the ship completely. And I didn't think that Clemson was going to tear this game apart by any means. They've shown they're not capable of that in the first 2 weeks. But again, just underwhelming. A loss here to Georgia Tech. I think their season is done now. I
Yeah.
think even with an undefeated run to end of the year, I think they're done.
I think they're gonna bounce back, but as far as college football playoffs go, you're right. It could be done, and this was my champion, my preseason champion that I picked. So, yeah, to not even make it or come close is pretty rough. But yeah, they're certainly falling short of where we had them so far this season. But yeah,
Yeah, I
still
mean,
time, but
barring
definitely an outside shot to get in at this point.
I think barring an ACC championship, I think they're done. They still
Yeah,
with only one ACC loss, they could make the championship game, win that, and get in that way. But I think that is their only opportunity. And with looking at Miami in the ACC, I'm not sure if this Clemson team can beat them. I
yeah,
really don't. I think Clemson is in
yeah.
real trouble.
That's true. And Miami, a team we'll talk about in a little bit, taking on a hot team, and they put belt to ass. So yeah, Miami's no joke so far. Yeah, Clemson, very, very surprising, but you're right. I mean, they get a championship in the ACC, they'll get in the playoffs with that. So we'll see what they can do. I did see a few years back they had a slow start to the season and then went on to win 10 straight. So I mean, maybe they'll have to do that again, but how common is that? Next game here, we're back to Blowout City. We had 13 Oklahoma taking on Temple, and shout out Dad went to Temple. Sorry, Dad, because it was 42-3 Oklahoma. Another game, not much to say here. Just honestly, what it should be. Just happy Temple put some points on the board for their home fans. I'm sure they really showed out for this game.
But yeah, I'm this game for me just makes me think. I mean, it is Temple, so it's not exactly tough competition for Oklahoma, but
Right.
were we maybe too harsh on Oklahoma? Are they actually like semi decent? They're doing what they need
Yeah,
to do in these first couple weeks. Beat a ranked team last week in Michigan.
right.
I guess 2 weeks ago at this point. Are they maybe a
Yeah.
little better than we thought?
I definitely think so. After the Michigan win and how they won it, I would say we were definitely tough on them. But yeah, the competition's still going to get a lot worse than Michigan. Um, which yeah, I feel fine saying that. Fuck Michigan.
Yeah, fuck Michigan. Yeah, can agree on that,
uh,
brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then talking about another team that, are we harsh on them? Are they actually decent now? Like, where are we at? Let's talk a little bit about 19 ranked Alabama. They took on Wisconsin. Bama was home in this one, and they won 38-14. Are they kind of righting the ship? I think if I recall correctly from our prediction on this game, you mentioned how you don't think Wisconsin's a very good football team at all, and I tend to agree. But how do we feel about Bama? Are they kind of righting the path here? Or
I mean, is this a good win for them? Yes. Do I really put much credence in them righting the ship to be a dominant force in college football this year? No. Wisconsin is a truly terrible football team. Even all of the Wisconsin alumni that I work with and talk to every single day would agree with me on that statement. That's not Big Ten hate. Wisconsin is terrible. Their offense is awful, and their defense isn't as good as it used to be to make up for some of the offensive shortcomings in the past, like 2018, the Saquon year, I think. Might have been 2016. One of those even years. But anyways, I don't put much in, I mean, good win for Alabama, but like I said, I don't think this makes them trending in the right direction to be a college football powerhouse again this year.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it means much. Like you said, a good win, but honestly, a needed win. They can't drop this game to Wisconsin, especially after what they've been through. But shout out to quarterback Sims. He's been looking really good. 80% completion percentage, over 300 yards the last few weeks. First Alabama quarterback to do so since Mac Jones, who we know is no joke. But let's move on. We got another fun one here. We have 6 seed Georgia taking on 15 seed Tennessee. One in which we both got this one wrong. We went with the home team Vols. They did drop it though, and this game was back and forth for a while. Tennessee certainly had opportunity. They had a wicked hot start. I believe it was like 21 nothing out of the gates here. And yeah, Georgia just chipped away until it became a minimal lead, and then they took it late. And this one did go into OT, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it did. It did. And Tennessee ended up kicking a field goal on their drive. They got the ball first, and then Georgia went and scored a touchdown to win it. This is one that I think we were on the right track. Tennessee had absolutely every opportunity to win this game and win it early, going up 21-7 in the first quarter, I believe it was. And just they couldn't put the nail in the coffin. They had every opportunity to do so, but they just weren't able to finish it out. They couldn't do it. So when you give Georgia, a team like Georgia, an opportunity to claw back in a game like this, you have to expect them to come out on top.
So true. Yeah, I think it's honestly safe to say Tennessee beat Tennessee in this game, not Georgia beating Tennessee. They certainly left the door wide open. And as you mentioned, can't be playing around like that against a Georgia Bulldogs team. Kind of reminds me of the Georgia Tech matchup last year against Georgia, where Georgia Tech had it in the bag. And yeah, they left the door open, just couldn't finish them off. And, Georgia's going to outlast most teams in college football.
Yeah, I agree. Do we get a Georgia Tech game this year? I don't know off the top of my head. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
fun this year,
I
I
mean,
think.
yeah, I think we do. It's a rivalry. I believe it happens every year. It's kind of like Clemson taking on South Carolina, like out of conference, but a game that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess I just wasn't sure with like the Big Ten's changing up now, where Penn State and Ohio State aren't going to play every year, and Penn State Michigan's not going to play every year. There's the couple like protected rivalries in there, but those are solely in conference. So I guess I was just curious, but I did just quick look, and it looks like end of November we do have Georgia Tech, November 28th. So I think that could be a
Very
fun one at
nice.
that point. That could be really high stakes for both teams.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Sign me up. Uh, but let's move on here. We had Florida taking on number 3 ranked LSU. They had to go to the True Death Valley, and yeah, this one was really nice. Honestly, I loved it. LSU won 20-10. The score honestly doesn't reflect how the game went, though. I would say LSU looked far and away better. Florida's really going through some shit right now. But that being said, LSU needs to do a better job of making it clear and, putting teams away. So, yeah, final was 2010. Florida made it look close. So I guess good for you, Florida.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad you say that LSU needs to do a better job of making this clear, because I was going to ask you after you started off with this, like, how many times are we going to say, well, the score didn't really reflect how this game went? Because,
Hey,
we had a similar conversation
you're
last week.
referencing the Clemson game, and there was a touchdown that was wiped off the board. So that's something entirely different. But yeah, you're right. I
Was
did say it
there?
again, and there was. 99.9% of the population agrees. Um, but yeah, they got to do a better job at doing it. I mean, we see it all the time with pro teams, college teams. Like, you got to fucking put teams away. I mean, just like we were saying with the Tennessee Georgia game, that's early in a game, but like, you can't take your foot off the pedal, man. You got to bury them.
Can I ask you an honest question about LSU? At this point in the season, what are you actually expecting out of them? They're 3-0, but they beat a Clemson team by 7 on the board. We'll just say 14, all right, just to make you happy. Then they beat a really shitty Louisiana Tech team, I think it was, who they played in week 2, and now they beat a Florida. So if we're really evaluating the teams that LSU has played at this point, they're kind of looking trash, and they're not really blowing them away. So I'm curious, what do you expect out of this LSU team?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're concerning, honestly. I expect heartbreak. Um, Outside of that shisty team, man, and in 2020, like LSU has always kind of been similar to Penn State in that they can't get the job done in the big game. I mean, Bama was a
Yep.
massive hurdle for my whole life. And if they did end up making it to the championship game, odds were they were running into a Georgia, or at times a Florida. And yeah, it's rough. I expect heartbreak almost every year. I don't think that changes this year. I just do truly see the talent and potential of this team. I just want them to, make it to their ceiling, basically. And yeah, we certainly haven't seen that yet. Like I said, I hate when you hang in and you let these bad teams stick around with you. It's not good. But a win's a win is a win. Let's keep moving on. We'll take it week by week. But yeah, I want to see improvement. That's for sure.
I can appreciate your comment bringing in PSU to that conversation. You are correct. You are correct.
Next up, we got 4 seed Oregon taking on Northwestern. Yeah, this one another non-shocker here. 34-14 Oregon. Northwestern looked rough all year so far, so this is no surprise.
Yeah, I think Northwestern is the worst team in the Big Ten, and this one is a game where I think if you look at the score, it truly tells not the full story. Oregon went up 34-0 here, and then Northwestern got 2 late touchdowns after Oregon was like, okay, we've got this in the bag. With that said, I'm not fully convinced by what Oregon's putting out in the field so far this year in the product, and the voters are aligning with that. Even with a win here against Northwestern, they drop 2 spots in the AP poll to 6 in this upcoming week. So we'll see. I say that now, and Penn State next game is against Oregon. Not this week; they've got to bye, but next week, and then Oregon will shit on them, and I'll be eating my words. But for
Hey,
now, I'm not convinced.
very nice to have the bye before that matchup, though. I'm hoping for the best, but as I just threw that little dig at Penn State and my boys LSU, that's a big game, so we'll see who shows up. But yeah, can't wait to talk about that one in a few weeks, or I guess next week. No, yeah, next week. I'm dumb. Moving on, we got Central Michigan taking on 23 ranked Michigan. Michigan took a beating out here. I mean, definitely upset with the aforementioned loss to Oklahoma the week prior. They took this one 63-3. Again, shout out to Central Michigan. Got points on the board. At least you didn't have to travel far. That's all
Yeah,
we could
that's
say.
right. That's
All we
true. Yeah, Michigan, good bounce back week for them. I'm still not convinced. I think they'll drop out of the top 25 by the end of the year. I just don't think that they're quite back yet. I don't think their freshman QB is quite ready to bring them into the limelight yet.
Next, we have another rollover that didn't look like it exactly, and that's South Alabama taking on 24 ranked Auburn. Auburn takes it, but only a 31-15 score. I'll be honest, didn't look too closely at this one. Hoping it's similar to the Oregon Northwestern game, like you said, Oregon probably pulling starters and all that. Hopefully the same here happened with Auburn because you got to win this game more than by 16.
No, I agree. This is one I also didn't look too closely because, I mean, with all due respect to South Alabama, all South Alabama alum, when you see them coming up against a team like Auburn, it's chalk. It's one of the preseason games for Auburn, so I didn't look too closely either, but I agree with everything you said. 31-15 is a scary score for Auburn here.
Totally.
Very
At home
scary.
too, nonetheless.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's scary. But moving on, more rollover games. We had Villanova take on your boys, number 2 ranked Penn State. Penn State takes it 52-6. What did you see in this one?
The defense is dominant. I have no doubts about that. Dennis Sutton is fantastic. He is the Abdul Carter of this year before, like Micah Parsons and then Abdul Carter, and now we got Dennis Sutton. The
A
defense is really
factory.
never a concern. Seriously, it's not. We produce a fantastic defense every year. I'd love if we could recruit the secondary a little bit better. I think that would make a difference, but they're still good enough, if you had, Joey Porter Jr. and, names like that. So it's not terrible, but we're certainly not getting like Caleb Downs. All right.
Yeah,
Fuck Ohio State, but respect to that guy. He's a G.
right.
Um, so like we're not getting this, but the defense is great. The offense, though, I mentioned this when we were talking about FIU. I didn't give a crap that it was 34-0 we beat FIU. I don't give a crap that it was 52-6 against Villanova here. Drew Aller only 16 for 29 for 209, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. What are we doing? When is the offense going to flourish? If the offense hasn't looked great and fully clicking in these first 3 weeks of the season against shit competition, respectfully, how can I sit here and expect them to click against teams like Oregon and Ohio State? And the great news for Penn State is their schedule is honestly very weak this year. It is one of the weakest in college football for a Power 5 team. It genuinely is. We've got Oregon coming up as our next game in 2 weeks, and they've got Ohio State on November 1st. And honestly, those are the only 2 games I'm even concerned slightly about losing. But it doesn't matter because and Oregon, I think we could get by with a mediocre offense because, like I just said, I don't think that Oregon is super great this year. And I maintain my position, I think, from last year when we were talking about this. I don't think Oregon is a team that's quite acclimated to Big Ten football yet. Their defense is not quite up to snuff with the rest of the Big Ten teams. Ohio State, however, the offense is going to need to click to win that game. It's just that simple. So they need to figure it out. 52-6, great. I'm happy we won. I'm underwhelmed by the offensive performances I'm seeing, especially from Drew Aller. And I said before the season started, I expected better things from him because this was a true prove it year, in my opinion, for him. Is he probably going to go latest second, maybe third round in this year's upcoming NFL draft, regardless? Yes, based on straight physical tools. But if he balled out at Penn State and lived up to the potential we all thought that he could have, he absolutely had a chance to be the first quarterback off the board. And what I'm seeing so far in these first 3 weeks gives me no confidence for the rest of
Yeah,
this year. And he's looking
and
like
with
a back end round 1, early round 2 guy.
yeah, and with their nice friendly schedule too, like you mentioned. I mean, it was right there for him to take it, grab it. Potential Heisman, potential first pick in the draft, like it was all right there for him. So yeah, it's a shame to see, but you're right. I mean, it has to improve for these tougher games that you have. But like you said, Ohio State's pretty far away, so if they could get by Oregon, they have months to figure this shit out because their defense and their running backs are that freaking good that they
Katron Allen
probably
and
don't
Nick
need him.
Singleton as a running back duo is
That's
amazing.
filthy,
It's amazing.
filthy.
I would argue I think that is the best running back duo in the country. I think
Yeah,
those two. I think
I
Katron is criminally underrated. Don't get me wrong. I think Nick Singleton is slightly better and very excellent. But the amount that people think the gap that's between Singleton and Katron Allen, it's honestly not that big. Katron Allen is that dude. He is that dude for real. I think it's the best running back duo in the country.
Yeah, you're not going to get an argument from me there. And honestly, shout out to them both coming back to Penn State. I think it's a genius move because, I mean, we saw it with Ohio State last year with their two-headed monster. Both backs get drafted in good spots, especially considering the position. Uh, yeah, we've seen in the NFL draft, running back fall later than they should. But yeah, they both get drafted in good spots. And think about all the miles you're saving, all the ground and pound you're saving yourself from. And now you got a bag and you're a number one back on a team. So it's pretty sweet. But yeah, they're both studs. It's just they're gonna need Aller eventually to perform and at a high level at that to take down Ohio State.
I agree, and I've said this before too, and I still think there is much more that Drew Aller can do, but at the same time, kind of like a secondary, we need to be able to recruit a motherfucking receiver, a 5-star wideout, please, just one time. Like, okay, we got some decent transfers in this offseason, but please, one time, secure a 5-star wideout, please,
Yeah.
please.
Honestly, I chalk it up to being geographically somewhat close to Ohio State. Like all these five-star recruits just go there because they know it's one of the wide receiver universities and they know the prestige, they know they're going to get drafted, they know all of that. But honestly, outside looking in, I don't understand why a player wouldn't. I mean, it's a great team everywhere else. I mean, like you said, quarterback sometimes not, but if Aller has that 5-star talent, he's probably a lot better. As you said, just the tools alone he possesses, it's going to get him drafted in the NFL regardless of this season. So, I mean, if I'm a stud wide receiver, which I am in my dreams, I'd consider Penn State.
I mean, like you said, I mean, you would be the guy. You would be the guy. So I don't know, but hey, let's move on to something else. I could rant about that all day long, man.
Good call. Good call. So let's go to Oregon State taking on 21 Texas Tech. 14-45. The Red Raiders took this one. They're kind of cruising now. I mean, Oregon State winless on the season, not looking so hot, but Texas Tech really kind of building up some momentum here.
They've played 3 games, and I think they're like 20 points away from scoring 200. I think they put up 70 something, 60 something, and now 40 something. That's
Yeah.
absurd. Absolutely absurd. Their offense cannot be stopped right now. We'll see what happens when they come up against a really stout SEC defense in these coming weeks, because we've got conference play starting this, like real conference play. There, a game here and there,
Well,
like
yeah.
Clemson, Georgia Tech last week,
Texas
but
Tech is in the Big
yeah.
12 though. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Gosh, wow. Yeah, Texas A&M. I'm confusing those two teams. My bad. But, um, yeah, I guess actually they could totally be fine. In the
Yeah,
Big 12. What do they have to worry about
it
defense
might be
wise,
fine.
other than
Yeah.
my guys Baylor? That's how I'm going to throw that shout out there. But,
There you go.
yeah, I mean they really could cruise. 200 points, almost 200 points in 3 weeks is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I believe they do have some Texas/Oklahoma rivalries. Like they probably play Oklahoma, Texas, or Texas A&M at some point on their schedule. But yeah, as far as conference play goes, they should be okay. I mean, like you said, the offense is just supercharged right now. Teams aren't going to be able to keep up with that, and yeah, maybe they take on the Baylor Bears in the Big 12 championship.
That would be exciting. I would be excited. I would love to be right about Baylor. That was one where I felt like I was going out on a little bit of a limb, and if I'd be happy to be right about that one. So
Yeah, I
let's
mean,
go
it's looking
Baylor.
good so far.
It is. It
Uh,
is.
but let's move on. We got 14 Iowa State visiting Arkansas State. Not sure how they swung the home game here, but they did. Iowa State was traveling, but didn't matter. Iowa State won 24-16. However, alarming score. That's a little close. One possession against an Arkansas State team. A little surprising there.
Yeah, I think that we said it last week. I think Iowa State's a fraud right now. I think they're going to come up against their first real competition, and they're going to get smoked. I mean, unconvincing game against Kansas State in week 0. I honestly, off the top of my head, don't remember what the rest of the competition was in week 1 and week 2, but I know it wasn't anything great. And 24-16 against Arkansas State. I don't care that Arkansas State was the home team here. Like, I know you call that out
Yeah,
all the time, but sometimes
yeah,
that
not
simply
here.
doesn't matter. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is one of those cases, and I think Iowa State is fraudulent right now.
yeah, very well could be. I'm certainly alarmed after that score. But let's go to Louisiana taking on 25 seed Missouri. Welcome to the top 25, Missouri, and I think you're staying. We had a 52-10 blowout here.
Dude, Bo Prabula, baby, that guy. He is something different. Seriously. I liked watching him when he came into the games at Penn State, and he is running this Missouri offense with finesse, dude. He's looking great. Missouri is a force to be reckoned with in the SEC. And that one I know of got right. They are in the SEC.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to you Penn State fans because there's a handful at my job that I'd be talking to, and they're freaking watching like every Missouri game they can just because of this kid. So love the loyalty to the team, but also to, players that go through there. But
He's
yeah,
he's a
he's a super
local
exciting
local.
player.
Like he's from
Okay.
York. He's from York. So he's real
That makes a
close.
little more sense. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
I knew he was Penn
Yeah.
State, but yeah, I didn't realize he was York close. That's wild. But yeah, next we got UTEP taking on 7 seed Texas. Talk about phony, man. Texas pulls it off, but 27-10. Are they ever gonna do what they should this year? I mean, this is scary. They are bound to get their asses kicked come SEC play.
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas is in the gutter here. I don't know what's wrong with Arch, man. So I think something is wrong with Arch. I don't know that he's everything we thought he was gonna be, or at least me. I won't clump you into that, but I also think that something is wrong with him. I said it after watching that week 1 game against Ohio State. I do not think he's 100% right now. And I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah, I mean,
reflecting in all these games. Texas
yeah,
just
we
doesn't look
talked about
dominant.
the mechanics. We talked about his mechanics. We talked about the highlight of him grimacing in pain after releasing the ball. That should not happen. You're just a child. You should bounce back. You should feel fine. Week to week, especially this early in the season. I'm with you. There's probably an injury. But I think it's a little bit of both. I think he is injured and he also is just getting way overhyped due to that Manning last name. And I think he's not what we all assumed he'd be just given his name. Um, but yeah, I definitely think there is a little bit of injury going on there too.
No, yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think there's a middle ground. I think he's a little bit overhyped. Like I think he was overhyped by me. I think I had him as one of my top Heisman candidates. That is certainly not happening, barring an insane turnaround.
Yeah,
But also, I do think he's a little hurt. I think his real evaluation is somewhere in between. I think it's somewhere in between.
very fair. But let's move on. Game we referenced a little bit earlier. We have 18 South Florida taking on 5 seed Miami. Miami took this one 49-12. We both wanted this to happen for South Florida. That would have been the craziest start to a season ever. Beat 3 straight ranked opponents as underdogs and only being ranked, I believe, in this last one against Miami. But yeah, they were unable to do it. And as you mentioned, maybe they're not so good. Maybe we thought Florida was better than they were. I certainly think we thought Boise State was better than they were after that week 1 performance. But yeah, it's just not looking so great after all for South Florida after that whooping.
Yeah, I mean they're one of the teams that dropped out of the top 25 and rightfully so, taking a 49-12 beating for Miami. And I also think that just speaks volumes for Miami here. I think that they might be the premier team in the ACC this year. I did not expect that, but I think they just might be. Carson Beck leaving the SEC and going to a much easier ACC, respectfully, I think that just might be a place he can flourish.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. It's that or this guy got a lot of growth over the offseason because he was a fine quarterback for Georgia, but he was certainly reliant on what's around him to lift him up. And here it's like he's lifting everybody else up. It's a full 180. I hate to say it because Cam Ward had such a great season last year, but he's Cam Warding in that he's leading this team. He's in the front runner of everything that's good for this team. But yeah, it's amazing to see. I didn't expect it either. I thought they'd be a good ACC team, but more so, like you said, due to the weaker competition. But he's blowing the doors off of that theory. I mean, they're just a good team, I think, and we'll see more. They probably play Florida, an SEC school, and we'll see when they play Clemson. If they do, I hope they do.
Find out. We'll find out, man. Could be interesting, but right now I'd have to give my vote to Miami to win the ACC.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right with you. But let's move on. We got Ohio taking on number one, Ohio State. 37-9. What's your take there? It's a blowout, but is it what we thought? I don't
The
think so.
good news is after my Penn State ramble is that I've also been completely unconvinced by Ohio State so far this year. Only beating a shitty Texas team with how they've looked so far, 14-7 in week 1. Grambling, all right, they fucked up Grambling, but that's Grambling,
It's
dude. That's
scrambling.
yeah. Um then we got Ohio here and 37-9. I mean, they're not looking great either. I'm not super convinced. I think that they're a vulnerable team this year. And if Penn State and or others in the Big 10 can figure it out, I think Ohio State has the potential to drop a game or two. I really do. I really do. I'm not convinced by Julian saying so far.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but it's probably still all said and done going to be one, maybe two losses, and they probably freaking get into the playoff anyway, just due to their pedigree. And we'll see what they do there. But hopefully, they're not a true threat like they have been for way too long.
Yeah, I mean, last year was so annoying, man. I really didn't think they deserved to possibly even. Gosh, that just really bothered me last year how they won the chip. I did not think that they were the best team in the country, but they just went on an unbelievable run in the playoffs, and you got to give credit to them for that. But I really didn't think they were the best team in the country, so that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah,
And
they
Penn State
definitely
should have
earned
been
it
the
though.
team. No, they did.
It
They
was a
they went on a
wild,
run.
wild path they had to go
No,
through.
yeah,
It was not an easy bracket,
I
but
agree. Like I said, once they got into the playoffs, there was no fucking around. They beat Texas, they beat Oregon, beat Notre Dame in the chip. But I'll be damned if Penn State could have just won against Notre Dame like they were supposed to. What a legendary college championship that would have been. Ohio State, Penn State for the college chip, the overall college chip.
yeah,
I'm gonna dream about that. There's not gonna be many situations where that can happen again, and it was right there for the taking. Ugh.
very true. Yeah, it's got to really line up. I mean, even if both teams are great, you could be on the same side of the bracket and then you don't have the shot at that. So, yeah, good point. It was right there. It was a game away and yeah, just fell short. But let's get it done this year. Maybe. If LSU's
Maybe.
out, if they already broke my heart, then I'm okay with it. Okay. Next we have Western Michigan taking on 9 seed Illinois. Illinois, everything we thought they'd be so far, looking very nice. They won this one 38-0, looking like a good Big Ten school team here, reminiscent of Indiana last year, just getting the job done. A team that's usually not, the upper echelons of the Big Ten, but they are this year.
No, yeah, I mean Illinois is a team that they're starting to scare me a little bit. They're looking like a very cohesive quality unit. They could surprise some teams, and I mean, last year Indiana hung in there against some really great teams last year, and Illinois is looking like they might be able to do the same this year. So they're not a team that I'd be looking forward to play.
No, yeah, I honestly I have to. I will when we're done filming, but I would need to know what, major Big Ten teams they have on the docket because they could totally surprise some teams.
Here, give me
Are
2
you
seconds.
looking?
I'll tell
He's
you. Yeah,
looking.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah, I
go.
am. Yeah, yeah, I got you.
I love the new setup, brother.
Second screen to look, man. It's amazing.
That's so good.
So this week we'll get to it, but they've got 19 Indiana. So that's one right away. Newly into the top 25 USC the week after that. So that's 2 big games. They do play Ohio State at home. They are the home team
There
against
we
Ohio State.
go.
And those are the 3 big ones, and they all come in the next 4 weeks. So this is a
Wow.
big month for them right here.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very exciting though. Thank you for grabbing that. But yeah, let's move on. We got SEC matchup here. Arkansas taking on 17 Ole Miss. Not sure what to think here. I think Arkansas's always slept on. They're a good team. They're competitive in the SEC. They tend to be on the losing side far too often, but they always keep it close. And that's what happened here. But also Ole Miss, like a team since the start of this year, I've been screaming, why are they ranked so low? Like this is a legit squad. And I'm starting to lean towards they were underranked, but at the same time, they are not one of the top tier teams in the SEC. But I guess time will tell here. But yeah, they got it done.
I mean, I'm of the same mind. I still think they were underranked off the rip, but I don't think that they were one
Yeah.
of the top SEC teams. I
Yeah,
don't think I ever thought that they were, honestly, but I thought wherever
in
they
other
start.
words, they're closer to home now, sitting at 17.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Okay.
would agree with
Yeah, I
that. I
agree.
would agree with that. But I like your take
Yeah,
on Arkansas. I think they are
they are. They're
always
always.
seen as just like a stomp over team. That's just because they're playing in the SEC against a lot of these better schools. But if they played
Yeah.
a lot of these other top teams and other conferences, I think they'd put up a lot of dubs. I really do.
Yeah. I agree. I couldn't agree more. That made my day. Uh, next, this will be a fun one for us to talk about. We had 16 ranked Texas A&M taking on 8 ranked Notre Dame. Texas A&M took it 41-40, and neither of us frickin' guessed it. What the hell? It's because of the bye week, the old week
Yeah,
2 bye week to prepare for this.
yeah, I agree. And I mean, Texas A&M quality, I really don't think that they're amazing, though. We'll get to it, but I think they're now overranked after this win. I do not think that they are I think they're 10 or 11 now. I don't think they're a top 10 team in the country, put it simply, especially with their performances against UTEP, and I can't even remember so far, but their defense looks shaky, and they still allowed 40 points here to Notre Dame. But what I really want to ask here is, we've given props to Marcus Freeman in the first couple weeks on the show, but what the hell are you doing going up by 6 and trying to go for 2? Kick the field goal, brother. Go up by
Yeah,
7.
that's
You
so dumb,
lost this
dude.
you lost this game because you scored a touchdown to go up by 6 with a few minutes left and tried to go for 2.
Yep.
Why? Why? You and then because then Texas A&M drives down the field and kicks an extra point. And in college, an extra point is still automatic because it is kicked from the 2-yard line.
Right.
What are you doing, my guy? I'm not really complaining because fuck Notre Dame, and I'm glad that this is now 2 losses for them. So they are 0-2 team. 0-2, which is amazing. Amazing. Join a conference. But 0-2, I mean, let me ask you here on this. Do you think there's a path for Notre Dame
No,
to the
absolutely not.
playoff now? Yeah.
And guess what? There would be if their bitch asses were in a conference, but they're not, so they're cooked. We can worry about them next year. Honestly, they let a non-conference team in with 2 losses. I'm gonna freak the frick out. But lucky for us, I don't even think it's gonna come to that because they're probably catching an L along the way. Their schedule's not cake. It's just they're not in a damn conference.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, to their credit, they don't schedule just cake teams to go
Yeah, they
12-0
don't.
every year. However, 2 losses right off the rip. That's
I'm feeling
sexy, baby.
good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sexy. Uh,
very nice. But yeah, to your point about the boneheaded decision there, I feel like analytics, and I'm not saying it was a case here, but it may have been. But just in general, I want to talk about how why the hell analytics has a human being head coach with emotion and feeling and taking into account the whole football game on a freaking leash. Like, what are we doing? I'm so sick of it. Like the boneheaded, you're down 2 scores, you're down 14, and there's 3 minutes left. You score. Why the hell are you going for two? And we see teams do it all the time. It's like push this to OT. Like I don't understand the analytic of getting the 8. So then you're down 6. You get the onside kick or you get the stop. You get the ball back. Then you win with a touchdown and extra point. Like who gives a fuck? Because if you don't get that 2 point conversion, then you absolutely need it or you lose on the other one. And it's just, it blows my mind. It makes it
The only
way more
time
stressful than it needs to.
the only time I think that's acceptable is where you if you have we'll just call back to one that's coming to mind. If you have like South Alabama versus Auburn, and South Alabama is down by 7 to and they score with like 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, South Alabama's got a better chance on a 50-50 on a 2-point conversion than taking it to overtime and getting drubbed.
Yes,
So that's a
100%.
scenario where I can see it. Where if you are a team like Notre Dame, what are you thinking? What are
Yeah.
you thinking?
Yeah, at home nonetheless. But yeah, it makes no sense. And just to double down on my point, we see it all the time when it's a 2 possession game and they do that. That's asinine. Like if it's a 1 possession game and you're just going for the win, even if you're the better team and you necessarily shouldn't, I can see doing it. Like that doesn't upset me. That makes it kind of exciting, honestly. I don't mind that. But it's the 2 possession where you already need so much to go your way. Why are you adding this like miracle type 50-50 play into the mix when you could have a 98% chance of making the freaking extra point? It just makes no sense.
Yep. I totally agree,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, but let's move on. That's enough of my tirade. But let's talk about a fun one. Vanderbilt taking on 11 ranked South Carolina. South Carolina, that came out weird. But yeah, this one we kind of mentioned last week, and we were saying how Vandy's no joke. Could see an upset here, and it happened 31-7. So it happened not the way I would think it would happen if it were to. So Vandy's no joke, man. Get some respect on Vandy.
I agree. I mean, we mentioned it last week, giving them some respect, but I got to give my credit to Vandy here. I feel like both of us were drubbing them pre preseason. It's just not a football school, and it
Yeah,
came up last year. When they
I
they beat
know.
Alabama, but you know what? I'll be damned. This year, Vandy is a football
Yeah,
team. They are one
they
of the teams
honestly
that entered the top 25 this week.
they are. Shouts out. But yeah, it's something we need to just put behind us. And I think I'm the one who even brought it up in the preseason because our whole childhood they were just like, why is this team in the SEC? Like it was comical. But they are here now and they're no joke. Like I wouldn't even want LSU to play them. I'm not even kidding.
That's fair.
I
Hey,
don't need
that is a
that.
sign
I
of
don't
respect
need
right
that.
there.
I
Yeah.
don't need that. Just for the even if it's a 30% chance they lose, I don't need that. Just get it out of here. I that would destroy me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yes. But let's talk about another one, a team we like a lot, and like we mentioned about Arkansas, always underrated team, and that's 20 ranked Utah. They took on Wyoming, got it done, 31-6.
Yeah, I mean, you really said it all right there. I think Utah is always criminally underrated. I don't think this was ever a game that they were necessarily worried about, but Utah went to Wyoming, got the job done as they always do.
Yeah. Yep. They never let down, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe we're gassing them up a little too much, but yeah, that was our week 3 recap. So let's get into our week 4 predictions.
Yeah, and before we get started picking our first game here, just to give you a little recap on some stats, last week where we're at here. 21 games that we picked last week. Chris goes 18-3, myself 17-4. We only had one difference, the Clemson Georgia Tech game, which Georgia Tech pulled off. That is where Chris gets the one. We were both wrong in Georgia, Tennessee, Vandy, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, Notre Dame. But still, 18-3, 17-4, not bad at all, bringing Chris to a 57-10 record on the year. Myself, a 54-13. And even though I'm behind by 3, I can't be upset with 54-13. That's all right. Better than 80% success rate there. And finally, before we get started with the first pick here, I've talked about, we've mentioned as we were recapping week 3 here, but out of the top 25 now is Clemson, University of South Florida, and South Carolina. And taking their place is USC, Vandy, and Georgia Tech.
Love it. Speaking of Georgia Tech, the first matchup we're going to discuss here is Temple taking on Georgia Tech. Shout out Temple again, baby. I don't know why you're playing so many good damn teams, but yeah, I'm predicting an L for the Owls. They're about to get stung, you know what I'm saying? Georgia Tech here.
Yeah, I got Georgia Tech as well. You put it
I'd
well.
hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, next we have Southeast Louisiana versus LSU. So, or 3-seed LSU. Got to say the seeds. Georgia Tech's 18, by the way. But yeah, 3-seed LSU should have no problem here. I'm excited. I'm glad they get another rollover. It's about to start cranking up, people. So LSU definitely has things to correct. So I'm glad they got one more in here before it gets, sketch.
Yeah, I also have LSU here.
And a nail
Um,
biter, probably. It's
yeah,
probably a
it's
nail
gonna be
biter.
really close. 3-0. That's all we're getting. 3-0.
Oh,
LSU's only putting up a field goal, no touchdowns in
jeez.
the whole game. Yeah,
Jeez. Yeah. Thanks.
you're
Uh,
welcome.
next, we have a rivalry game, Oregon State taking on 6th-ranked Oregon. As you mentioned, Oregon dropping back a little bit, all the way down to 6 now from 4. But yeah, I still have Oregon in this one, though.
I also still have Oregon in this one. I don't think that they'll drop a game to Oregon State here. You mentioned earlier, underwhelming team yet again to start this year. So I don't think Oregon's the first team to give them a win.
Very nice. This next matchup is insane good. Insane good. We gassed both teams up in recapping last week. I have no freaking clue how this is going to shake out. It was terrible to pick. We have 17 ranked Texas Tech taking on 16 Utah. Holy shit, man. I, I don't
This one
know.
was tough. Yeah, this one was tough.
I went with my heart. I went Utah. Again, when it's this freaking tough, I'm a sucker for the home team. A little bit of that happening here, but I am terrified of that Texas Tech offense. As you mentioned, I mean they're pushing damn near 200 in 3 weeks. So wow. But Utah always a defensively sound team, and the offense pretty good in its own right. I just think they're going to play a little cleaner, and I'm hoping that's enough.
Yeah, no, this one was the toughest pick of the week for me by
Of
far.
honestly, of the year so
Yeah,
far, I would say.
I
This
would
is
agree with that.
brutal.
Yeah. And I like that we end up on opposite sides of this one. I
Beautiful.
ended
Me
up
too.
going with Texas Tech. I think their offense has just looked so good that I'm not sure that Utah is going to be able to shut them down.
Yeah,
Because here's the thing about
very
Utah,
fair.
they are a very quality team, but they never have a super explosive offense either.
No,
Right
they
now,
don't.
it looks like Texas Tech does. So I'm
Yeah.
siding with that.
Yeah, it's honestly whoever wins this game is however play style this game, shakes out. Is it like a fight for every yard kind of game? Because then Utah's going to win. Is it, 50, 60-yard plays every other drive? Then Texas Tech's going to take it. But I love that we're different on it, even though it scares me. Because this game is so beautiful. This matchup, I'm very glad we got some meat in the game here.
100%.
But moving on, we have University of Alabama, Birmingham taking on 15 Tennessee. Love that Tennessee did not drop a single rating this week because they were the reason they lost to Georgia. They truly were. I like that they're not being punished for that loss. They played great for half of the game and then shot themselves in the foot a lot. But yeah, here should be no problem for Tennessee to get back in the W column.
I agree. I've got Tennessee here. Interesting argument about the self-infliction, how that shouldn't necessarily reflect in the rankings. I'm not sure that I actually agree with that. I think that might be more reason for you to drop in the rankings. However, it being a 3-point loss against Georgia, I agree generally that they shouldn't have moved in the top 25. But the reasoning, I think, a little bit different.
Yeah, very fair. When you put it that way, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
why the hell did I say that? But yeah, let's move on. We got Kent State taking on 7 seed Florida State. Florida State, a surprise team so far, looking pretty good. Are they back to the Florida State of old? I'm not so sure just yet, but Kent State should not, make them fall here.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I've got Florida State winning this game. If Florida State does lose at some point this season, I don't think it's going to be this week against Kent State.
Mhm. Moving on, we got 22 Auburn taking on 11 Oklahoma. It's at last the Oklahoma SEC play. Um, but yeah, they should probably win this one. They've looked better than Auburn and they are at home, but I'm still going Auburn. They're not, it's much like your Oregon debate. I don't think they're acclimated to SEC play yet. So I'm taking the upset here.
All right, that's fair. I went back and forth on this one quite a bit. Also a tough one for me, and I went with the home team here. I went with Oklahoma.
Very
Pulling a
nice.
pulling a note from your book.
Yeah. Dude, that's the title of my book. uh Next, we have Tulane taking on 13 ranked Ole Miss. This one, like, honestly sounds like it shouldn't be a game. I think it's going to be close, but I did still go with Ole Miss. But respect to Tulane, they're a legit team, and I think they make this one somewhat interesting.
I'm really glad you say that because I honestly debated going with an upset here. Because
Yeah,
Tulane is a quality team. I mean, I think they finished last year ranked 24, maybe if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, they was in the top
something like
25.
that.
Pretty
And I think they
quality
were the year
team.
prior as well.
Yeah. So I mean, Tulane quality team. I really debated it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, and ultimately ended up going with Ole Miss here.
Very nice. Next, we have 21 ranked Michigan taking on Nebraska. I went Nebraska. Fuck
I
you,
also
Michigan.
went Nebraska. I just had to get that in there so quick. Fuck Michigan.
We'll keep it moving then. Very nice.
Yeah.
We got Purdue taking on what the hell? How are they still ranked at 24 Notre Dame? Come on.
I
But
agree. You can't.
I'm taking Notre Dame, but what the hell?
You can't go 0-2 to start the year and still be ranked, man. You got to earn your way back in there. So the fact they're still at 24 is super annoying. The fact that I have to talk about them in game picks weekly
Exactly. We
is
shouldn't have to.
super annoying. Yeah, they should be off my docket. So while I would love Purdue to go out there and win this game and probably take them off my docket for the rest of the year, that's not
Yeah.
going to happen. Notre Dame's going to win this.
Well, we're predicting that we won't have to talk about Michigan next week. So I'll take that. I'll take
I'll
that
also
or
take
Notre
that.
Dame falling out. But let's move on. Next, we have South Carolina taking on 23 Missouri. South Carolina fell out from 11, yet here we are talking about them. Little redemption, perhaps? I think not. I'm going Missouri.
I also do not think so. I think that Missouri team is really clicking right now. They're at home. I was really on convinced. I mean, it's only putting up 7 points last week. I got Missouri.
Next, we have Florida taking on 4 seed Miami. I knew they freaking played. I forgot it was this very week. But yeah, Florida's schedule honestly brutal. So we're going to talk about them a lot, but they're not going to be ranked when we talk about them. So go Miami.
Yeah, I also got Miami here. Like I said earlier, I think Miami's looking like a pretty quality team so far this year, and I don't think Florida's going to be the team to stop them.
Very nice. Next, we have 9 seed Illinois taking on 19 Indiana. In other words, last year's Indiana versus this year's Indiana, or Illinois versus last year's Illinois. Yes. I'm taking that was a mind fuck. I'm taking 9 seed Illinois here. They're just better. I think Indiana's really riding off of what they did last year. I think they're still a fine team, but I don't think they're what Illinois is.
I totally agree with that assessment. I also went Illinois for basically the exact same reason. I think that Indiana was a little bit overrated last year, even with the record that they put out. I think they're riding high on that. I think the voters are putting maybe too much weight in that. I don't know that they should even be a ranked team right now. So I got Illinois.
Very nice. Next, we got Georgia State taking on 20 Vanderbilt. Go Vandy. I mean, surely they don't hiccup here. They're cruising. They're a legit SEC team.
Yeah, I got Vanderbilt as well. It feels like you may have just jinxed them to hell with that
No,
statement there.
no, Vandy's built different, and I hold no stake in Vanderbilt anything. So I don't think they care what I think.
Says
So
the guy who's like, I wouldn't want to play Vandy right now. I don't
I
need that
wouldn't.
stress. Yeah.
I would. That's true statement. For the record, I wish LSU could play fucking Southeastern Louisiana or wherever the hell they play this week every single week.
Let's go Southeastern Louisiana.
And that wasn't a jinx at them either. Damn it, I'm digging holes.
Yeah.
Shit, somebody's fallen. Let's hope it's Notre Dame and Michigan. I don't know. Let's move on. We got Sam Houston taking on 8 seed Texas. Texas survives another week, I think, but it's coming.
I agree. I think Texas survives another week. The fact that they're 8 right now is a little bit wild to me. I think that is a bit of an overrank with how they've performed in their easier games post Ohio State. It's hard to hold the Ohio State loss against them with Ohio State being 1, but come on, they should probably be somewhere in the teens.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching Oregon, an undefeated team, fall after all they've done is win. So it is kind of weird that Texas had that initial fall, but then haven't really. I mean, I think they ticked back one. I think they were 7 last week, but for real, I agree. Give them like not even a teen. Give them 12. Give them the closest to teen it gets. I'm cool with that. But yeah, let's move on. Last game of the week here, and it's an interesting one I definitely struggled with. Michigan State versus 25 USC. Michigan State, a puzzling team. They used to be really good when I was a kid growing up. Great coach. But yeah, haven't really been themselves for years. But this one, for some reason, was tempting me. Like they were going to be like, you don't know what it's like to be in the Big Ten, USC. Let me show you. But I couldn't pull it off because I don't have balls. USC wins.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess I don't have balls either because I also went USC here, but that's mostly because I've been watching Michigan State these past few years, and I mean, you said it really well. They are not the same team that they used to be. They're really not. And USC can at least score. We know that. Their defense is not convincing, but I don't think that Michigan State's offense is good enough to really give them problems. So I went
Right.
USC here.
I agree. So looks like two different
Yeah,
this
we got
week.
two different.
We got Texas Tech, Utah, me taking Utah, you taking Texas Tech, and we got Auburn, Oklahoma, where you were Oklahoma, I am Auburn. Should be fun. We got a lot of good games. Super exciting.
Oh, yeah. And with that, everybody, that wraps up another episode of Palm City Chucks, the college edition. We hope you are enjoying the split episodes between NFL and college. We love being able to dedicate a little more time to college compared to last year. We hope you're enjoying it as well. Please like, subscribe, comment, let us know your thoughts, and we'll be back with you next week.
Later, PCC!